What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Live. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking some Cowboys football because holy smokes, the Cowboys got the win on Thanksgiving versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We did not expect that at all, but they did. We did. I think we did actually. Let me correct that. I'm just excited. I'm in the moment. I'm setting up the live stream here, and I'm talking as we go. But I'm lying to you. We did see it coming. What I think we didn't see coming was a couple of weeks ago when the Cowboys were sitting at the bye week at 3-5-1. I don't think we're expecting to get some hope that the Cowboys could make it into the postseason. And by the way, the idea of this live stream is to just kick it back, talk some Cowboys football. So make sure you drop in your comments. We'll get to your questions. We'll talk some Cowboys football for the next 15, 20 minutes as we celebrate Thanksgiving weekend. And man, okay. Let me walk it back a little bit. We did expect it. I predicted the Cowboys were going to win this game versus the Chiefs. I'm not perfect picking the Cowboys at all this season. It's been a tough season to predict these games, but I thought the Cowboys had a chance going into this one. What I think we didn't see coming was you're sitting at 3-5-1 at the bye week. You're looking at the schedule. You've got the Eagles, you've got the Chiefs, you've got the Lions, and even with the Quinn Williams trade, even with the return of the Marvin Overshown from injury, I don't think we expected the Cowboys to have a chance at making it into the playoffs. With that being said, I think if you're going to buy into this Cowboys team, if you're going to buy into the idea that the Cowboys are going to be playing in January, then now is the time to do so. Now, mind you, the Cowboys are still a long shot. According to NFL.com, the Cowboys have a 18% chance to make the playoffs. So I know Dom over here was asking about it. How likely do you think is that we make the playoffs? It's unlikely. I will say it. I'm not scared of saying that it's going to be unlikely for the Cowboys to make the postseason. However, this is the time to buy into the Cowboys if you're gonna. Because this stretch of games that was supposed to be super tough, the two toughest games were arguably Eagles and Chiefs. Now, I know these are not perfect teams. They are teams that are struggling in 2025. But these are teams that were supposed to beat you at the beginning of the season. And the Cowboys beat them. So I think, first and foremost, hey, you got to celebrate where you are. But more than the wins themselves, I think, is how the Cowboys are winning these games. The Cowboys are witnessing Dak Prescott play some of his best football in his career. He's got CeeDee Lamb, he's got George Pickens, and it's working out for many reasons. One of them is there's not really a correct way to play the Cowboys offense. We've seen Dak Prescott slay some demons over the last 5 days, and what I mean by that is historically, Prescott was bad versus Big Fangio in his career. Dak Prescott did not look bad at all versus Big Fangio on Sunday, did he? The other defensive coordinator that had given Dak Prescott the fits over the length of his 10-year career was Steve Spagnuolo, who happens to coordinate the Chiefs' defense. That wasn't very much of a problem on Thanksgiving. Dak Prescott was blitzed on about 50% of his dropbacks. That's the highest blitz rate the Cowboys have faced all season long. Shout out to Tommy Jarish in Next Gen Stats for these numbers. Prescott was pressured 12 times, and under pressure, Prescott went 10 for 12. He had 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, and yes, he did have that pick, right, at the beginning of the game. So there's that. We got to give the Chiefs some credit. You're going to get those moments when you go up against the Chiefs. It's just going to happen. But other than that, man, you cannot blitz Dak Prescott because, number one, throughout the years, he's been the king of facing the blitz at the NFL level. And also, it's pretty tough to play the Cowboys man-on-man, blitzing the quarterback, because the Cowboys happen to have a pretty good run game as well, and you saw it on Sunday and Thursday. You saw the Cowboys go up against solid defensive fronts. The Eagles have one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. The Chiefs just figured out a way to slow down Jonathan Taylor and the Colts 5 days ago. And they couldn't stop the Cowboys. Now, they did get some pretty good stops. Javonte Williams, I think, averaged under 4 yards per attempt. But there were times where the Cowboys were getting 7 yards a clip, 10 yards a clip. Malik Davis broke free for 43 yards and a touchdown. And you go back and you watch those plays, and what you're going to see is solid play design. You're going to see physical blocks at the point of attack. And that's not a coincidence, man. That's the Cowboys cashing in on what Brian Schottenheimer has been preaching from the start. So if you're going to believe on the 2025 Cowboys, number one reason, just to recap here very quickly, and if you're going to believe on their chances to make the postseason, number one, this is a football team, again, that has been in 5 days, the two teams that were playing in the Super Bowl. Now, they're not the same team that they were in February, to be fair. However, this team is passing with flying colors two of the toughest matchups left on the schedule. You've got the Detroit Lions up next. You likely have to run the table. But if you beat the Lions next Thursday, man, they're going to be favored the rest of the way, I think. Dak Prescott playing elite football is the number two reason why, we're going to go with believing on the Cowboys. Number three, this defense is playing viable football. Now, I want to be very clear here. I'm using the word viable very intentionally. The Cowboys are playing viable football for the first time this season. They don't have to be top 10. They don't have to be a top 5 unit. Do I think they're going to keep this level of play? Maybe not. The Chiefs are struggling as a whole this season. They haven't been the same. That's why they're 6-6 through week 13. I don't think any of us expected that. The Eagles, they've been winning ball games, but their offense has been so frustrating to watch all year long. Don't even get me started on the Raiders. So do I think the Cowboys are one of the best defenses in the NFL because they stopped Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts? Not really. They have some weaknesses. And in these games, we've seen them be exploited because of those weaknesses, right? They have a vulnerability at middle linebacker. The cornerbacks are not great yet. The Cowboys might get Trevon Diggs next Thursday. I'm not sure what to expect out of Diggs after so much time on IR because of a knee injury and a concussion. But what I will say is this Cowboys team faced Patrick freaking Mahomes with Rashid Rice, with Xavier Worthy, and they got 4 consecutive stops in the middle of the game. Second quarter, third quarter, you got 4 consecutive stops. That's what wins you ball games. Because on the other side, you've got an offense that is going to take advantage of those opportunities. And let me tell you this, man. This Cowboys offense did not get pretty good starting field positions, but they were still driving down the field. They were still making big plays and getting into a position to score points. What I'm trying to say to you, if I could sum it all up in one sentence, is the Cowboys are playing some pretty good football at this moment, and they're a very good football team. The problem is their record. The problem is they dug themselves a hole, and that hole is pretty damn deep. Are they going to be able to climb their way out? To do so, number one, they need to run the table, or maybe lose one, maybe drop one. Maybe you can get away with dropping one, having 10 wins, and trying to win, that playoff sitting. But man, at the very least, you got to get 5 wins over the next 6 games. No, wait, 4 wins out of the next 5 games? Yeah, this season is about to end already. Maybe you have to get to 10 wins at minimum, 11 wins ideally, right? Now, somebody asked over here on the Instagram side of things. Let me try to find it very quickly. Cowboy said, no, it wasn't a question. He said, we just have a wild card chance. Now, before I get some other comments here that I want to get to, I will tell you something that you don't want to hear. I will tell you something that might upset you, that you might just close the broadcast out, forget about it, and move on. And I don't blame you if that's what you do. But I'm going to tell you who you need to root for on today's Black Friday game. Guys, I think we got to root for the Eagles. Now, I'm not... Hey, whoa. I'm not telling you chant fly, Eagles fly. I'm not telling you throw on something green, because I would never tell you that, because you would never do that, because you're Cowboys fans. I will say, however, the Eagles are likely winning the NFC East. Your only chance at winning the division is the Eagles having a historic meltdown, and they're not great, but I don't think they're going to drop 2 games versus the Commanders. I don't think they're going to lose against, don't they have like the Raiders coming up, or was that game already played? Let me see very quickly here. Yeah, man, the Eagles have the Raiders coming up. They've got the Chargers coming up. They've got the Bills who are struggling coming up. So if I'm being real with you, I am waving the white flag on the side of the NFC East race. So with that in mind, we need to aim for a wildcard spot. And you know who has a wildcard spot right now? Well, not really. The Chicago Bears are actually leaders in the division. But I think they're going to drop the division. I think it's going to be either the Packers or the Lions winning the NFC North. And the Bears are in this perfect spot to be one of the wild cards that falls off. One of the wild card candidates that falls off. With a loss today, the Bears would drop to a wild card spot. They've got 2 games coming up versus the Packers. They've got another game versus the Browns, who, the Browns are not great, but they have a top defense, so you never know what can happen in those instances. And the Bears also got to play the Lions. They also got to play the San Francisco 49ers. It's not an easy schedule. And even though they've got a winning record, they are 22nd in DVOA, meaning they haven't been dominant. They've been winning games, but they haven't been dominant. So I'm telling you, man, this Black Friday, you might not like it, but I think we're rooting for the Eagles to win. Not going to tell you to actively root for it, because I know you won't. You're Cowboys fans, but hey, just telling you things like I should, right? Shout out to Luis over on the Twitter side of things. Luis says, before the game, there was a 10% chance the Cowboys made the playoffs. For consecutive weeks, the Cowboys have nearly doubled their playoff chances, man. It's been awesome to see. So hopefully the Cowboys keep climbing and keep climbing and keep climbing. Shout out to Joe. He is watching from Italy. Shout out to Joe, man. And shout out also to Holly, who says, good to see you live again, Mo. We have not live streamed in a long time on A to Z Sports Dallas. We're going to bring the streams back. We're going to be doing this about once per week. It's going to be fun. I'll give you more information once we work things out. But for now, we're bringing the live streams back little by little. Shout out to Michael on the Facebook side of things. We've got Elizabeth, Marcus, Lay. Everyone is rooting for the Cowboys. Richard, though, shout out to Richard. He says, I love the lateral movement the defensive line puts up now. No more sweeps for 15 yards a clip. Man, that's such a good point. Because I'll tell you what, man, about this Cowboys defense. I have not gone back and watched the film for last night's game. But I'll tell you this. Over the last couple of games, I was surprised at the amount of plays that happened at the defensive line. So someone asked me about the linebackers the other day, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not sure. And the reason why was the plays, for the most part, are happening up front in the defensive line before the linebackers even have a chance at making a play. You saw that last night with Quinnen Williams, Jadeveon Clowney getting those 6 tackles. He had 2 sacks. This defensive line is playing very well. And it's that 5-man defensive front that has a lot to do with it. It's been pretty cool to see. So shout out, you know what? Shout out to Matt Eberflus. We were running him out of town in September and October a little bit. We were running that guy out of town. Got better players. He decided that Donovan Eziraku and Jadeveon Clowney should be starting. Got Overshown back. Got Savon Rebel Jr. back. Got Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson all healed up. And this Cowboys defense is playing better. He came up with a solution there. Hey, let's play with 5 men up front. We wanted him to adjust. He did, and it's working out. All I'm saying is Matt Eberflus might deserve some apologies. He might deserve some apologies. But let's see here. Rick says, I have been a diehard Cowboy fan since I was born. I'm 75. Hey, let's go, Rick. Let's go. Let's get you what you haven't gotten in over 30 years, right? A Super Bowl win, a Super Bowl appearance. I'll tell you what, man. I'm from 1999. I've never seen the Cowboys play on an NFC Championship game. And my life revolves around the Dallas Cowboys. I've never seen them get past the divisional round. Now, we're dreaming here. We're dreaming, right? And I'm not telling you that, hey, get your hopes up. The Cowboys are going to go on a Super Bowl run or anything. But I will say this. They have a slim chance at making the postseason. They pretty much need to win out. Here are 3 things I believe. Number 1, it's going to be tough. Number 2, they could win out. They will need some help, but they could win out. The big one is the Detroit Lions game. And then from there, the big problem is being consistent, which was an issue early in the year. Let's see if the Cowboys can keep this momentum and this consistency up. Number 3, and here's where I will be guilty of some hope. I will be guilty of giving you some hope here, but I'm down for it. If this Cowboys team messes around and gets into the postseason, they can win some ball games, man. If this Cowboys football team messes around, runs the table, and gets a ticket to January football, they might be one of the best teams in the NFC. I believe that. I'll tell you that. The problem for me is it too late? Is it too late for a Cowboys team that was 3-5-1 at some point? This reminds me a little bit of that 2018 season when the Cowboys went and got Amari Cooper via a trade. They were 3-5 before the Amari Cooper trade, and then they got to the playoffs in 2018. They beat the Seahawks, didn't they? And then they lost to the Rams. Yes, that was that season. They beat the Seahawks, and then they lost to the Rams. We'll see, man. But I think Trey Adams here is exactly right. Jerry Jones needs to sign George Pickens ASAP. I'll tell you what, George Pickens and David Mulugheta, his agent, they're not going to get close a negotiating table from here until the season is over. They shouldn't, to be fair. They should not do that. But man, in the offseason, if you're Jerry Jones, bro, you got to realize you cannot separate Dak Prescott and George Pickens. They work so well together. So well. What George Pickens does best complements what Dak Prescott does best. Dak loves to throw the slant. Damn, he does, man. George Pickens is a great slant route runner. No one in the NFL has generated more EPA, more efficiency total than George Pickens running the slant route. It's not even close. Before week 13, George Pickens had like a 73 total EPA number. About 35 of those 70 EPAs were running the slant. And in the biggest moment versus the Chiefs, 3rd and 2, you got to make sure you move the chains so you don't get the football back to Andrew Reid and Patrick Mahomes. What did Brian Schottenheimer call? He called a player's play. It was a slant to George Pickens. He kept it simple. No trick play, no shenanigans. It was just let me get the football to my best guy. That's George Pickens running his best route and Dak Prescott throwing one of the routes he likes to throw the most. That's proper coaching, if you ask me. That is proper coaching. But ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for me today here on A to Z Sports Dallas. Appreciate you all joining. I know it's the holidays. Enjoy your family. I'm thankful for you guys tuning into the show. I'm thankful about the Cowboys giving us some hope here in the final stretch of the season. Let's see if it pays off. And I'll see you next week. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.